Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. As South Africa's National Space Agency approaches the end of its first financial year, Keith Campbell joins me to take a look at what has been accomplished in this space of time. Keith, welcome to Second Take. The Space Agency is developing a national space program. What is this meant to do?
Well, this is meant to provide a plan, a schedule and a cost estimate for all the activities of the Space Agency over the next 18 or so years, out to 2030. And the program involves, they've set up 4 expert teams. There are 4 divisions to the National Space Agency. There's space operations, space engineering, Earth observation and space science. And they've got an expert team for each of these to propose what should be done, what these divisions should do, what they should focus on. But it's not merely these expert teams. They've also gone out to try and get as much input as possible from stakeholders, as they call them, people who make use of SANSA's activities, SANSA's products, and also to a degree to try and get input from the wider public. I say to a degree because that input has had to be done online, so it has required people with access to computers. But on the other hand, these are the sort of people who are actually actively interested in space and what the Space Agency should do and what the space program should be about.
The Space Agency recently announced the release of the 2011 Spot 5 mosaic. Can you tell us about this?
Yes, indeed. Well, firstly, Spot 5 is an European Earth observation satellite, specifically a French Earth observation satellite operated now by a company called Astrium, which is a very big European space company. Now, the mosaic is effectively total coverage of South Africa with satellite imagery from the Spot 5 satellite. This SANSA and its predecessor, the Satellite Application Centre of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, compiles every year and has done so since 2006. So this gives government departments, agencies and universities total satellite coverage of the entire country for planning and research purposes. There is much interest in the mosaic outside government and universities, but unfortunately in terms of the license that SANSA have from Astrium, they can only distribute this mosaic to governments, to government departments, to government agencies such as South African national parks, and to universities for research purposes.
What about South Africa's space mission control capability?
This is an interesting point. South Africa has been involved in supporting spacecraft for many decades. It goes back half a century or more. It's a very long and very proud tradition. But South Africa has, until the Sumbandila satellite was launched, always acted on behalf of someone else. South Africa provided what's called tracking, telemetry and control. But the actual command decisions were always made in the other countries or other agencies' mission control and relayed via the South African facility at Hartbeespoort. With Sumbandila, South Africa set up for the first time at the Hartbeespoort complex a mission control facility that could control the satellite. Now, as we know, Sumbandila is no longer effective. Technically, it's not dead in that certain elements of it are still functioning. They can still track it. They sometimes still get a signal from it. The radio amateurs are still able to use it to relay messages, but the imager is non-functional and they cannot download any data. So there's a need to maintain this capability until the next South African satellite comes along, which will be a few years from now. So what they are doing is they've reassigned personnel to similar functions within the space operations divisions. Mission control and telemetry tracking and control fall under space operations. And they're also using Sumbandila as a kind of training tool. It's still useful in that regard. And they're also upgrading the software at Mission Control to make certain that it does not become obsolete before the next satellite is launched. But we can't give a date for the launch of the next satellite.
Keith, thank you very much. That is the Second Take show for this week. Thank you for watching and join us again next time for more news analysis.